Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. So today we get to take a look at this 2023 BMW X3 sDrive30i. Huge shout out to Hendrick BMW Northlake for providing this vehicle for me today. Check out their website, that info is down in the description. So the X3 that you see behind me is finished off in Brooklyn Gray Metallic, and we'll go over the MSRP once we go over all these specs and features and get this SUV out on the road. So let's start off with what powers the S-Drive. Underneath the hood, this has the 2-liter twin power turbo 4-cylinder engine that's paired to the 8-speed automatic transmission. It pumps out 248 horsepower, 258 pound-feet of torque. That power set to the rear wheels. This weighs in just under 4,000 pounds. It'll do 0 to 60 in 6 seconds with a top speed of 130 miles an hour. It also has a fuel capacity just over 17 gallons. You'll expect to see around 23 miles per gallon in the city, 29 out on the highway. This also has a wheelbase of 112.8 inches. Its overall length is 185.9. It has a width of 74.4 and a height of 66 inches. As we move on to the exterior styling now for this X3, this also has the M Sport package. So it gives it all the black accents that you see up front, including surrounding the kidney grille, which has a really nice design to it. This also has the integrated forward-facing camera and the active grille shutters. So the areas just behind here will open up to provide more cooling to that engine and better aerodynamics when needed. Now this also has a set of LED headlights, DRLs, and turn signals with a very nice sleek and a darker housing to them at the same time. There's more gloss black in the lower section, also forward-facing parking sensors, and a ton of cutouts and air inlets to provide even more aerodynamics and airflow. You'll see on the far corners, there's air inlets, so the airflow can travel through there around the front tire and exit the side trim piece, which I'll show here soon in just a little bit. And then there are very nice lines that come down the hood. It gives it a little bit more of an aggressive design compared to not having the M Sport package. So if you're getting more of a base level for the X3, I highly recommend getting the M Sport package. It provides this with the 20-inch wheels. So the factory wheels are 19s. This gets a really nice set of two-tone for these 20-inch wheels. There's that functional trim piece that I mentioned earlier, so the airflow can exit that and go down the rest of the side of the vehicle. Now there are very nice lines for the side. I love the fender arches, both in the front and the rear. There's also a crisp line down in that lower side skirt, as well as going at the height of the door handles. Now this also has body colored side mirrors with the turn signal as well as the camera. There's also a sunroof and the black roof racks, which match all the black window trim very nicely. And that leads us to the rear, where this has the body colored spoiler with some gloss black trim in the lower section, hiding that third brake light very nicely. The wiper blade is in the lower section. This has a set of LED taillights, a power liftgate, backup camera is right in the middle. There's all the parking sensors, more of that gloss black in the lower diffuser, as well as that dual exhaust. This does have remote start, so you can start it up when needed. And with the right package, it can tow right up to around 4,400 pounds. Pretty impressive for the size of this SUV. Now let's move on to the cargo space. I can use the button up underneath or the button on the key fob, of course, and that power liftgate will open up, where surprisingly, this has a decent amount of space for the smaller size SUV that it is. On the driver's side, there's a net, so you can place any items there. There's also a 12-volt and a hook on that passenger side. And there's a little bit of storage up underneath the floor. You could place that removable cover down there if you need to store it out of the way. And there's a little bit more hidden storage space over on that driver's side. So with the back seats up, definitely plenty of space, and then you can fold down those back seats to make this that much more practical, especially if this is a daily driver. Now up top, you can close and lock the vehicle. The one on the left side will just close it. And what I love about the X3 is that you can lock and unlock it using the back door handles. That makes it so much more convenient to access. And for this interior, this has the cognac leather. It also has the interior ambient lighting. So currently it is blue, kind of purple in this lighting here. There's also some brushed aluminum just underneath that. This also has the Harman Kardon sound system. There's a little bit of storage in the lower section, brushed aluminum on that window control, and then all the leather for that armrest. And of course, that cognac color makes its way to these seats. Very, very nice spec with the exterior Brooklyn gray. Now at 5'10", working my way into these back seats, I have plenty of room. There's a storage net behind both front seats, 2 air vents in the middle with all the climate adjustments, which is nice. There's 2 USB-Cs down below, a little bit of storage space as well. And as far as headroom goes, at 5'10", I do have a little bit of space above my head. And there's also a button on the side where you can recline these seats. just to be a little bit more comfortable. So I love, for the sizing of this vehicle, how practical it is for full-size adults to be in the back. Very nice to see that. Now right in the middle, if I pull on this tab, we have the armrest as well as 2 cup holders that you can open up if you need to use these. And then you can also fold the middle seat down. So if you want a little bit higher of an armrest, or you just need to gain access through the middle there, you have the option to do that. And as far as visibility goes, a little bit of a pillar there, but it's really not all that hard to see around. You can get another look at that lighting. And I mentioned earlier a sunroof. This actually has a full moonroof, which we will open up once we make it to the front seats here. So definitely very practical for your backseat passengers. Now the front door panel has all the window controls, side mirror adjustments, which are power folding. There's a release for the lift gate, a lot more storage space. This has memory seating adjustments, and then lock and unlock. And M is also down on the door sill, and then we have the automatic seats. A little bit more lateral support to them. They are heated seats as well. And then this has the lumbar support, and then a manual adjustment for the leg support here. So you can pull that in and push it back in, just depending on your comfort. This is a low vehicle, so it's very, very easy to enter and exit. And as we work our way to the M Sport steering wheel, it's covered in leather, more brushed aluminum accents. It's also a heated steering wheel too. Now on this left side, all the cruise control settings. Right side, this has volume and tuning along with Bluetooth and voice commands. It even has the paddle shifters, which are finished off in that brushed aluminum. Let's fire this X3 up though. With my foot on the brake, that button is down in the center, and we can bring this to life. And you'll see for this digital gauge cluster, on the left side is the fuel level along with miles per hour. On the right side is the tach and the engine temperature. Now right in the middle, what I love about BMW is the map for the navigation is always stationary there. So it makes it much easier, especially when you don't have the nav. You can see what roads are coming up if you need to make a turn. And then within that tach, you can go through a lot more information using this button over on the top of the turn signal stalk. So currently it's showing the odometer along with some other data information. You can also pull up live readouts for your horsepower and your torque. So if I give the vehicle some gas, you will see those adjust. There's also the G-force meter that you can pull up. You can even pull up your music when you have that activated. You can monitor what gear the vehicle is in along with the driving mode. So currently this is in comfort mode. There's a live readout for the MPG. And so it's nice to have all of that front and center. And then over on the left side of the steering wheel is all the headlight adjustments along with the parking lights, dimmer switches for the gauges. There's also a little bit of storage space down below if you need to place any items there. You'll see one air vent along with the Harman Kardon sound system there. It even has the head-up display. So currently it's showing miles per hour and the speed limit sign. And right in the middle, we have the touchscreen system. We are on the home screen right now. So it shows the navigation along with your media and phone. You can swipe over, look at some more data information along with traffic and the compass. And then you even have some blank areas where you can add some widgets as needed. And on this left side, you'll see shortcuts to the media. You can quickly get into your phone. There's even the navigation, so you can go through all of that info as well. If I go into car, there's a lot more to go through, and I'm going to use the rotary dial now to further go through that. You'll notice there's even more shortcuts above, so it's very, very nice if you don't want to use this as a touchscreen system. Under driving information, you can go into the sport displays. So if you want to drive this a little bit more sporty, you can monitor all of this information. We can go back and then go down into the vehicle status, so you can monitor some more vitals just depending on what you'd like to see. And then under settings, you have a lot more to go through. You can configure the interior lighting, go through your displays, even look at your different driving modes, so the sport and the eco. And then you have some general information to go through just to set that up as needed. There's also driver profiles, owner's manual, and this even has Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and a few other apps just depending on what you like to use. Very, very nicely laid out. Now just underneath that, there's this trim piece surrounding the brushed aluminum, and then there's a small LCD screen right in the middle for all of the climates. So as you can tell right now, fan speed is right in the middle, temperature dials are on both sides, and then where you'd like the air to go. We have a few other recircs as well as the heated seat controls, and this even has a shortcut to the intelligent safety. So this is all the standard safety features for this X3. You can configure these just depending on how you'd like them to react. Now underneath that, you'll see power and volume for the radio, along with all the presets as well as tuning. And then there's an X3 badge located down below, finished off in brushed aluminum. And if I open up this cover, that reveals a wireless charging pad along with a USB. There's a 12-volt and 2 cup holders. And then when you're ready, you can easily close that up. There's piano black surrounding all of that, which is a very nice accent. And then to the left of all of those controls, we have the gear shifter. So if I push it forwards, that is for reverse, where this model has the 360 camera system, and it gives you very good graphics as to what's around this vehicle, especially when you go into the 3D setting. You can see exactly what's around this entire vehicle. I love the amount of graphics that you do have. And then there's also the car wash setting. You could use this as the top-down view if you're pulling into a parking space as well. This even has the automatic parking, so the parallel parking assist, as well as the backup assistance. So very nice technology to have. Now to access the forward-facing camera, I'll just push this button on the left of the shifter, and you can pull that up in full screen, which is of course great to have. Now in front of that, you will see traction control along with the parking sensors, the engine start-stop feature, and then behind that we have all of the driving modes. So just by pushing on Sport, you will see that up here. There's a few different settings. There's also a comfort setting, and then Eco Pro has a few different settings too. So just depending on how you'd like to drive. Now going back to the shifter, in order to put it into drive, we'll pull it all the way back, pop it over into the Sport mode, which allows you to use these paddle shifters, and then park is on the back side. It will automatically go back into that position. Now on the far side here, there's the auto hold as well as the electronic parking brake. And then in the center armrest, there's a lot more storage along with some auxiliaries, so you can charge some electronics if you have some extras. And then the glove box has an ample amount of space for all the information. You'll notice too, more of that interior lighting, which is a very cool touch. And we'll take one last look at these seats. And like I mentioned earlier, with the full panoramic sunroof, that will open up all the way to about the headrests for the backseat passengers. So it will provide a lot of light for this interior. Definitely a cool option to have. You can use that button to open up the sunroof for the front passengers, of course, and then the dome lights are on both sides. As we set off now behind the wheel for this 2023 X3, this has an MSRP right around $57,000. Now personally, I am looking to buy this exact model that we're in right now, so it's very cool to be able to check this out, take it for a drive, and really see what it has to offer, because I am a performance-oriented type of person. I would love to get the X3 M40i, but for significantly less money, maybe $8,000-$9,000, you can get into a non-M version, still get the M package, and you still have a very nice vehicle. So if you're not really using it or going to be using the SUV for its full potential of going with the higher trim level, I'm not trying to knock the higher trim level at all, but if you can get into an X3 for under $60,000 and still have a very nice SUV to drive. So honestly, I don't think it's that bad for what you're getting. This is a smaller size SUV from BMW, but as you've already seen, it's actually very, very roomy. I'm very impressed with how BMW was able to package together this smaller size vehicle and still have an ample amount of room to make this a very good daily driving SUV. So again, under 60 grand, I think this is very cool, and I really wanted to get the M40i because of the larger engine. This has a 2-liter 4-cylinder, which I'm not a huge fan of, but I mean, that's a mild acceleration. You know, I'm not for my needs for this kind of SUV, I'm not really looking for the extra horsepower, so I don't need to spend the extra money for that power that I'm not going to use. If it was something that I personally drove every single day, I would definitely go with the M40. But for this 2-liter 4-cylinder and what it's going to be used for in my household, it's honestly not that bad. And of course, I can do some mods to it here and there as needed, which is a whole nother topic and issue. But for this base vehicle that we are currently in right now, or for stock vehicle, I should say, it's actually very nice. And that was in comfort mode, so we'll put it into sport mode now, where we get a little bit more throttle response, which is nice to see. We can also use the paddle shifters too. So honestly, I think it's nice. It's missing a few things. I wish it had ventilated seats as well. Some of this trim is just personal taste, but for under 60 grand, you really have a lot of nice materials for this interior. And we'll give it another acceleration using the paddles I'm impressed with it. It's not crazy quick. I'm not doing anything, you know, hard on the accelerator for today's video. If I buy one, stay tuned and check out the videos that I'll make once I have one in the garage. But yeah, the X3, you can get into this probably in the high 40s, maybe in the 50s. The base price is around $47,000. So if you don't get any options, you could probably get into it right around $50,000. And for a BMW, it's not all that bad. There's other models out there, other brands that are going to have vehicles around the same price point. So when you think about this being a BMW, it's that almost next step in a sense, being a luxury brand. Not to say other brands aren't as luxurious, but for the price, you can get into a BMW just like you can get into a Toyota or something like that. That's going to be in a similar price point. So it's not out of the realm of being an affordable SUV that still has a lot to offer. And with it still in sport mode, we'll do another mild acceleration. I'm very impressed. Hopefully you can either hear or see on the gauge cluster, the moment that I tap on the paddle, it goes into that next gear. So it's not really a performance-oriented model from BMW, but I love the fact that they can incorporate some of the performance characteristics. We have the smaller engine, we have the standard suspension for the M Sport, which is surprising to see. That is a part of the M Sport package to have the standard suspension. But I do love how quick these paddles are. It makes it a little bit more fun to drive for being the, I don't want to say base entry, but it's the smaller engine. It's kind of more of the entry level for the X3, especially having the 4-cylinder engine. But it's pretty peppy, and again, under 60 grand, I'm excited personally to have this. This is pretty much the spec I would go with, possibly red leather for the interior, but the Brooklyn gray for the exterior. I do wish though, however, it did have adaptive cruise. It has the forward camera, which is kind of a part of that in a sense, but it's missing the sensor, and I don't know if you can get that on the X3 in general, so maybe that's just not available for this car. But aside from that, I really do like everything else about this vehicle, and obviously I don't own one yet, so I'm not biased towards it, but it is a good size vehicle. And the fact that it can tow a little bit, you probably have to go up to the M50i to get the larger inline 6 in order to tow up to that 4,400 pounds. But you can still tow a little bit with this if you need a vehicle like that. But yeah, sub 60 grand. What do you guys think of the X3? Very, very nice for this luxury style, smaller size SUV. But I think that is going to wrap it up for this 2023 BMW X3. Once again, a huge shout out to Hendrick BMW Northlake for providing this vehicle for me today. Check out their website. Also give this video a huge thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Consider smashing that subscribe button so you don't miss out on our daily uploads. I will see you all in the next video.